Greg's planning to join us once he gets to internet. Okay.
Okay, red is mic off.
No, red is on.
Red is on. Okay, I had to remember that. I'm off, which is what I want to do. Only, not first, I'm just in my head.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our board meeting, the last meeting for October, just before Halloween. Hope everybody is getting ready for a good Halloween. Let me do a roll call. I know Mr. Griffin had a family issue and is not going to be able to join us this evening. Trustee Zuniga.
Correct.
And I know Mr. Land is on an airplane right now and is going to be joining us later in the meeting, but is not present right now. So Trustee Dwyer. And I am here. So we have. Okay. And I am here. So we do have 3 members, and that's a quorum for our board. Let's go to Pledge of Allegiance. The superintendent leader.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have our Spanish language interpreter for the meeting this evening, Enrique Montaldo. For those who would like to attend the meeting virtually in Spanish, that option's available. Enrique, would you please communicate that for us this evening?
Buenas tardes, tenemos a nuestro intérprete de español para la reunión de esta noche. Para aquellos de ustedes que quieran asistir a la reunión en español, esa opción está disponible. Gracias.
Thank you very much. If you wish to view closed captions of this meeting, please view the meeting on the San Mateo Union High School District Board Meeting YouTube channel. The link to the YouTube channel can be found on our website. You can view the captions in English as we live stream our meeting tonight, and you can view the captions in a variety of languages if you choose to watch after this meeting has ended. Viewers can request additional accommodations by calling 650-558-2201. For our deaf and hard of hearing community, we have a team from Hannah Interpreting Services, and they will be interpreting our meeting this evening. So we would like to ask everyone to speak at a clear and reasonable pace for our interpreters. Thank you. I have a brief report out from closed session. The board, upon the motion of trustees Lee Dwyer and seconded by myself, moved to approve the 4 special education settlements by a vote of 4-0. Trustee Griffin was absent for that vote. I would also like to announce that the staff is pulling M2, the Learning Forward Conference. Very unfortunately, the Learning Forward Conference filled up extremely quickly, and there is also a very long waiting list, and the waiting list is actually full. So we are going to have to pull that item tonight and not consider it. So this is a public meeting of the San Mateo Union High School District Board of Trustees. If you're joining us in person and you would like to make a comment about an agenda item or during the public comment section at the beginning of the agenda, please fill out a request to address the board form and submit it to the secretary. This form should be given to the secretary before the agenda item begins. If you are joining us virtually, use the raised hand feature on Zoom to be recognized. When invited to do so by the board president for each item on which you wish to comment, you will be admitted to speak as a panelist during your public comment period. The board president will call on you. Please note that comments are limited to 3 minutes. The board president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public comment, depending on the topic and the number of persons wishing to be heard. So let's move on. Do we have any public comments on non-agenda items this evening?
No, not at this time.
Okay. Board comments. Trustee Dwyer.
Thank you. Since this is going to be the end of my term at the end of this year, I decided that because historically I went to a lot of sporting events and always would try to see every team play. So sometimes they would play each other. So I get a 2-for-1. But I always wanted to see everyone. And it was just, I don't know, something I really enjoyed. The other thing is musicals, plays, the performances that our students provide to us and to the community. So I have been getting tickets to all of them. Okay, so Cabaret was last Sunday. This weekend I'm doing a marathon, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Hillsdale, Mills, and Burlingame. And then I've got 2 in November, which will be Cap and Aragon. But I went to Cabaret on Sunday and sat in my usual seat, which is right next to the sound, and watched a student run it. There was an adult with her, but I'll tell you, he was not really with her. He was doing whatever he was doing. She ran that sound, and that's a complicated job. From that work to the work of all of the students for the sets, for the movement within, moving things around, the lighting, everything they did was just incredible. And you sit there and you stop and you think, is this really a high school? And Cabaret was as well done as if ACT did it in San Francisco. And I'm not saying that because post-pandemic, my standards have lowered. No. It was an incredible production, so well done from beginning to end. So the students they became the characters, and everything about it was absolutely A+. They should all have AP credit. It was amazing. So I'm looking forward to the next 5, which I will be telling you about after they happen. So thank you.
Thanks. Trustee Zuniga.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I first wanted to acknowledge the land on which we currently occupy. It's the traditional territory of the Ramaytush Ohlone people, who are the original inhabitants of the San Francisco Peninsula. I wanted to just make some mentions at first. Please pay attention to the correspondence that comes out about getting your vaccines, about wearing your masks, things like that. It came to my attention this week that there are people that have tested positive, but didn't follow up with another test. And they did not test positive, but they had symptoms and they didn't follow up with another test to test positive. So that's concerning. And I don't know who or where or when, but it just came to my attention. And so I really would like for people to remember that the winter's coming. And so we have this threat of like 3 different viruses, and, not all of us can afford to get sick for whatever reason it is. And, it's just not good to miss school and our teachers missing work and, everything that goes along with it. So please look at Ms. Devaney's emails. She does a great job at sending out a ton of information. We also have a lot of openings for mental health workers. We really need workers that can reflect our student body. So if anybody knows anybody that is interested in becoming a mental health therapist through our district, please send them our way. Let's see, we also, the ACLU of North Peninsula, we are looking for more youth advisory members for our subcommittee. So if there's any students that are interested in joining the ACLU North Peninsula chapter, please let me know. You can get my email through the website. It's Elendrade Zuniga at SMUHSD.org. And every Wednesday they're doing some, they're nonpartisan, so they're doing some phone banking just to, do some voter like outreach and awareness for youth. So let us know if you're interested. Please vote. Over the weekend, Miss Chalkley had sent out some articles that had been, I think it was Monday, she sent out some articles that had been published that mention our school. And one of the articles was by one of our students at BHS named Elise Spenner. And I just wanted to read her quote because it was really, really good. We're just over 2 weeks from Election Day. So teenagers and students, don't let your inability to vote deter you from caring about what happens in the upcoming election. Instead, let it fuel you. Let it force you to think more deeply and how you can change the world around you. And then let it push you out to the streets, onto the phone, and into conversations that matter. So take it from your fellow student, your fellow colleague. Please vote. And if you can't vote, volunteer. It's very, very important. The county has some resources for families that are immigrants, and at the smcgov.org website, they have a lot of services connecting people to DACA, citizenship fee waivers, and other types of information. So go ahead and get connected with them if you need it. There's also Aragon High School has an agency in social justice class. And over the weekend, I was messing around with my Instagram, and I noticed that they had published an amazing little slide deck of different things that class does. And their motto is empowering students to address social injustice in our society by asserting agency and building intersectionalities. It's amazing. They even have someone that does disability advocacy and stuff. So I'm really, really proud of Aragon and what they've been doing with that class. Lastly, I just want to say happy Diwali for everyone that observes Diwali. It is the Festival of the Lights, and it signifies victory of light over darkness. It runs this week from the 24th through the 28th. So happy Diwali to all of our families in our district that celebrate, and our staff as well, everyone that celebrates. Next Wednesday, November 2nd, is Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead, if you didn't notice my background. Our loved ones who have passed, we celebrate them with our favorite foods, favorite music, everything that they really loved. And we have beautiful altars. We fill them with flowers, their pictures. There are specific traditions for different countries. In Guatemala, we fly kites that are different colors. And at the end of the kite, at the end of the ribbon, there's a letter to our loved one that passed, because the kite is said to be the closest thing to heaven where we can talk to them again. So it's very beautiful. And, there's a lot of us that do celebrate, and then there are us that don't. But for everybody that does, please, happy Dia de los Muertos, and please support our students in the Latino, Latina, Latinx clubs that are having different events around Dia de los Muertos. Actually, one last thing. The ELD Soccer Championships is this week on Friday, 10/28 at 4 p.m. So it's at Hillsdale High School, and I hear that they're doing amazing. So please come and support our ELD family. So I think that's it. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much. So I just have a couple of things. One, I was able to go to the San Mateo County School Boards Association, where Trustee Land is actually serving as president this year, and he did a very good job of bringing together. The CSBA executive director came down and spoke about what's going on in Sacramento, and we had a couple of other speakers on events and trends in Sacramento. It was an excellent, really excellent event, and I wanted to make sure that Greg got some recognition for working on that and really pulling it together for all the trustees and the superintendents in the county. It was very well attended. And I would just second Trustee Zuniga's urging of people to go out and vote. I think it's extremely important. It's an important election, and it's an opportunity for people to be heard and express their wishes. And we have some important ballot measures as well as some important races in San Mateo County and in California more broadly. So I hope people will take advantage of their right to vote and go do that. And I would urge our 16 and 17-year-old students to take advantage of the opportunity they have in California to pre-register to vote. You can do that. You can pre-register to vote. When you turn 18, you are then automatically registered to vote, and it's a great opportunity to begin your involvement in the election process. So next item, we don't have any communications to the Board of Trustees this meeting, but we do have a couple of recognitions. So let me begin. I think the first one is a proclamation declaring the month of November as National Native American Heritage Month. So let me turn it over to the superintendent.
Thank you, President Hanley. So this evening, I'm going to read our proclamation. It's a National Native American Heritage Month, November 2022. Whereas National Native American Heritage Month recognizes the lives and accomplishments of the indigenous peoples of what is now known as the United States, and whereas indigenous peoples have made distinct and important contributions to California, the United States, and the rest of the world in many different ways. And whereas today, there are more than 100 federally recognized indigenous tribes in California, more than any other state in the nation. And whereas the United States Bureau of the Census determined in 2020 that there were over 720,000 individuals in the state of California of Native American descent, making it the largest population of indigenous people in the 50 states. And whereas Americans of all ages recognize the outstanding achievements and contributions of this nation's original inhabitants and their descendants. And whereas at the time of first European contact, the San Francisco and Monterey Bay areas were the home to over 50 indigenous tribes, each with its own territories. And whereas today, the independent tribes of the San Francisco Peninsula are known collectively as the Ramaytush Ohlone people, and whereas the ancestral past of the Ramaytush Ohlone people spans 10,000 years, reaching back to the Ice Age and predating European contact that happened just a few hundred years ago. And whereas San Mateo Union High School District and our community recognize the importance of understanding the history of this area, particularly with regard to the Ramaytush Ohlone people who lived here first. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the San Mateo Union High School District Board of Trustees recognizes November as National Native American Heritage Month, and furthermore be it proclaimed that the San Mateo Union High School District Governing Board acknowledges San Mateo Union High School District schools and properties are located on the unceded ancestral homeland of the Ramaytush Ohlone peoples, who are the original inhabitants of the San Francisco Peninsula. And furthermore, be it proclaimed that the San Mateo Union High School District Board of Trustees hereby authorizes and encourages cultivating a relationship with the Ramaytush Ohlone to develop ways that we can teach our students and our community about the lives and accomplishments of local Indigenous peoples. And furthermore, be it proclaimed that the San Mateo Union High School District Board of Trustees hereby supports the use of curricula at our schools every year to help students understand the importance of Native American Heritage Month.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the proclamation?
I move approval.
I'll second.
Okay. Trustee Zuniga, how do you vote?
Yes.
Trustee Dwyer,
Yes.
and I vote yes. So the proclamation is approved 3-0.
Great.
Okay, we have the second proclamation declaring the month of November as National Homeless Youth Awareness Month.
Yes, so this is a proclamation recognizing November as National Homeless Youth Awareness Month. Whereas November is National Homeless Youth Awareness Month, every year, hundreds of thousands of American families become homeless, including more than 1.7 million children. And whereas among the nation's homeless population, more than 1.2 million students from kindergarten through grade 12 experienced homelessness at some point during the 2021-2022 school year, totaling about 2.5% of all students in public schools. Whereas as defined by the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act, youth and children experiencing homelessness are individuals who lack a fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence, including those sharing the housing of other persons due to loss of housing, economic hardship, or a similar reason, are living in motels, hotels, trailer parks, or camping grounds due to the lack of adequate alternative accommodations, and are living in emergency or transitional shelters. And whereas the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act further defines youth and children experiencing homelessness are those who have a primary nighttime residence that is a public or private place not designed for or ordinarily used as regular sleeping accommodation for human beings. Children and youths who are living in garages, sheds, cars, parks, public spaces, abandoned buildings, substandard housing, bus or train stations, or similar settings. And whereas the population of youth experiencing homelessness also includes unaccompanied youth who have left home for one or more nights without permission, youth who have been kicked out of their homes, are abandoned, deserted, or prevented from returning home, and systems youth who have either aged out of foster care or have been released from juvenile justice or other public systems with nowhere to go. And whereas in 2021, the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development reported 15,763 people under the age of 25 experienced sheltered homelessness on their own as unaccompanied youth. This represents a decline of 9% between 2020 and 2021. And whereas in California public schools, the number of students experiencing homelessness was 171,714 in the 21-22 school year, and about 4% of statewide enrollment, which was a 6.3% decrease from the 2021 school year. And whereas between 2017 and 2021, there was a 15% decline in the overall number of sheltered unaccompanied youth reported nationally. And whereas the number of homeless youth who were transgender increased by 29%, and the number of sheltered unaccompanied youth who were gender non-conforming increased by 26%. Whereas the pandemic has contributed to significant losses, residential evictions, and in turn, an increase in family homelessness. And whereas furthermore, the U.S. has welcomed record numbers of newly arrived immigrant and refugee youth into classrooms from South America, Afghanistan, and the Ukraine, many of whom are unaccompanied minors who lack a fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence and are eligible to receive services under Title VI, Subtitle B of the McKinney-Vento Act. And whereas according to the district's annual census, 80 of our current students are experiencing homelessness in our district. And whereas due to the varying definitions of homelessness and the difficulty in capturing accurate data, the statistics do not necessarily reflect the numbers caught in the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act. The district has established programs to best assist schools in the alignment of services to serve students and their families best. And whereas the district is committed to improving student equity and access to high quality education and resources such as school supplies, food, clothing, bus passes, free admission to dances, yearbooks, and school apparel for youth experiencing homelessness and who are in foster care through our district and school site homeless student liaisons. And whereas the district is further committed to the socio-emotional health of students experiencing homelessness and who are in foster care through the district's mental health services. So therefore be it resolved that the San Mateo Union High School District hereby adopts this resolution to recognize November as National Homeless Youth Awareness Month.
Thank you.
I move approval.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion from trustee Dwyer, a second from trustee Zuniga. Trustee Zuniga, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Trustee Dwyer?
Yes.
I vote yes also. So the proclamation is approved 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry, Superintendent Randall Booker. Is there a way that we could change the term homeless to unhoused?
I can
just more-
change it with board approval in the text of the proclamation. I can't change it as the title, as that's a national title, National Homeless Youth Awareness Month. But throughout the proclamation, I can change with board approval that term.
Great, it's just more compassionate. Yeah, thank you. Can we change it, y'all?
I don't really care. I think that if you're homeless, I have a lot of compassion for people who are homeless, whether they're unhoused or homeless. I have the same feelings for them. So I don't really, whatever you want to do, Peter.
Yeah, it doesn't,
The terminology doesn't bother me.
terminology doesn't bother me either. Doesn't matter to me.
We approved it. Lee, can we just go with it as it's written?
Sure.
Okay. Can I say something real quickly?
Sure.
Okay, my husband and I had a foster child who came to us, a high school student, her freshman year. And she would have ended up in a group home. And that would totally away from us, away from our schools, away from the kids she went to junior high with, elementary school with. And she came as a freshman and her family kind of imploded right as that happened. And she had nowhere to go. And I will tell you that that experience really helped me understand how stable housing, stable family is so important to all kids, to everyone. And, I want to say in particularly high school kids, but high school is a tough time and you're adjusting to so many things. So, when I hear this and I look at this proclamation, it's incredibly important that we support housing for everyone. So I just wanted to make that statement. Thank you.
Thank you. So consent agenda, does anyone wish to pull anything from the consent agenda?
I move approval of the consent agenda.
I have a question about the consent and not necessarily having to pull anything, but there was a particular workshop that was given to the adult school about restorative justice. And I'm just curious, is there a way that we can get a presentation about what they learned? I'm really curious and really interested to hear from the adult school because we don't hear from them very often. Would that be okay?
Well, they're reporting tonight.
Sure.
We can schedule that for a future board meeting for sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Forgotten. Okay, there's a motion by trustee Dwyer, a second by trustee Zuniga. Trustee Zuniga, how do you vote?
I vote yes. Actually, I
Trustee-
didn't second.
Oh,
Oh,
I
I
thought
just-
you did. I thought you did.
oh, I
second.
thought you
I'm
did
sorry.
too.
No, I asked a question.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, I'll second. That's okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, how would you vote?
I vote yes.
Okay. Trustee Dwyer,
I vote yes.
I vote yes. So consent agenda is approved 3-0. Regular reports, report of the superintendent.
Yes. Thank you so much. So this evening, I'm really, really pleased that in attendance tonight, we have Miss Jenny Gibson. She is the new assistant principal at Burlingame High School. So Jenny, thank you so much for coming. I just want to give a little bit of a background. She's been 13 years with San Francisco Unified. Significant curriculum and instruction experience, supervisor of work-based learning, supervisor of high school credit recovery within the college and career departments over in San Francisco Unified, has served as an assistant principal before, and I think is going to be really a wonderful addition to the Burlingame High School team, the San Mateo Union High School District team. I really look forward to getting to know her and to work with her. I know that Principal Fong is just so excited to have you as part of the team. Unfortunately, she couldn't be here tonight because she's supervising football. We have a big football game
Thursday
tonight.
night game.
That's right,
tonight.
Thursday night game. So, but I wanted to welcome Ms. Gibson and to come on up and just say thank you so much for joining our district.
Thank you. Good evening, Board of Trustees. Thank you so much for the warm welcome. I came here and everybody was just so eager to say hello and introduce themselves. So I am extremely privileged and honored to be serving as the assistant principal of Burlingame High School. Like Superintendent Booker mentioned, I have 13 years in San Francisco Unified School District. I am so eager to roll up my sleeves and get to work. I'm committed to equity, diversity, inclusion, and accessibility for all students at Burlingame High School. And you have my pledge to serve the entire community to the best of my ability. So thank you again for this amazing, wonderful opportunity. And I look forward to working with you all. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Welcome.
Welcome.
Did you have anything else? No.
That's all
Okay.
tonight.
Okay,
We're glad to
Thank you.
have you.
thank you for coming. Report of the District Teachers Association
That's for sure.
representative.
Good evening, President Hanley, members of the board. First, as I often do, I'll just piggyback on a few of the comments that have been made before and truncate my prepared speech. I hope you all get out and vote. It's probably one of the most important elections, certainly one of the most important midterm elections that we've experienced in the last few decades. I also encourage you to get out and get your vaccination or your booster, or take issue with the way that you're addressing this pandemic, because I agree with Trustee Zuniga that we're headed to the end of the winter and there are lots of things that we need to be concerned about. I just also will put in a plug for Ms. Spenner, with whom Ms. Trustee Zuniga mentioned. she's a Burlingame student, member of the Burlingame Bee staff, a reporter who is diligent in her work, and we've had some very thoughtful and poignant conversations. So I appreciate the fact that Trustee Zuniga mentioned her quote. And for tonight, I would really like to commend the district, especially the HR department and everyone involved in the report tonight regarding district diversity, especially for taking seriously the need to address equity and diversity and really representation of our community in our district. This work is important. The presentation tonight certainly represents notable progress, and I appreciate the efforts and know many of the people involved and support their work and their efforts. But we all must acknowledge, and I think everyone would agree, that this is a first step. This is something that is a work in progress, and we must sustain this effort and continue to move toward the ideal of authentic representation of our community. So I look forward to the presentation. I appreciate the work, and stay the course. Thank you.
Thank you. Report of the CSEA Chapter 519 representative. Okay. And report of the San Mateo Adult School Teachers Association. Okay. We will move on to special reports and appearances and begin with the Human Resources presentation.
So before we jump in, I want to just make a couple comments about it. So Dr. Black and his team have developed this report, and this is based on a report that was given last year, and he has a presentation he'll go through. But I just want to provide a minute of commentary because, you know, I've read the background memo to the board. I've previewed the presentation, and I really honestly want to share with the board, the community, the amount of progress that this district has made in the hiring and retention of staff of color in just 1 year is nothing short of amazing. These were goals that we set when I was in Piedmont, and we set these goals to take place over 3 to 5 years minimum. And what Dr. Black is going to share tonight, I just wanted to give some outside perspective and outside context. It is amazing. The needle is absolutely moving in the right direction. We're going to keep at it for sure. There's more work to do. There's always more work to do. But I really want to praise Dr. Black and his team, our principals, our processes, the willingness to be flexible, to take this on, to be open in presentation like this and last year about where we stand, where we've succeeded, where we still need to improve. All of that, it takes courage. And I think it aligns right with our equity board policy and the work that Dr. Kemke is leading in our equity practices across the district. So just really proud and grateful, Dr. Black, Dr. Kemke, all of our team for all the work they've done.
Thank you, Superintendent Booker. So each year we provide the annual HR presentation that summarizes staffing, hiring, and benefits and various other aspects of personnel. Tonight's presentation is focused on the board's goal of increasing diversity in our credentialed staff. For this goal, the board's objective is to increase staff diversity to reflect the community that we serve over a multiple year period. Of course, diversity encompasses more than race and ethnicity, and we're proud that we have employees of many different cultures, identities, orientation, abilities, disabilities, and religions. However, in terms of this goal, the focus is on race. Sorry, we're having a little trouble. Okay, there we go. This metric was defined as a 3% increase in the total people of color in our certificated staff in the first year, which was last year, and an increase by 12% in the year 23-24 to a total of 42% people of color in our certificated staff. This year, where the green arrow is, we moved up 7%, 7 points, which could be attributed to our revised recruitment and selection processes. But this significant increase positions us well to meet the 42% goal and hopefully exceed it next year. The district achieved a variety of other accomplishments with staffing this year, and these include the eight that are on the screen. The first is that we had no full-time teacher vacancies on the first day. We often, have some challenges with recruiting, but this year we were able to fill all our vacancies and just had miscellaneous partial openings on the first day of school. 26% of new teachers identified themselves as Latinx, and that was up from 12% of our new teachers last year. We hired 3 Pacific Islander teachers this year. Last year, we had 0 teachers that identified as Pacific Islanders. 7 of 10 administrator hires, or 70%, are Asian or Latinx. New teacher hires of 2 or more race or ethnicities increased to 8.5% from 2% last year. 73% of our new teachers are female, or identify themselves as female, and 6 of 7 of our teacher interns are BIPOC individuals. And we often do hire our teacher interns the following year. For the remainder of this presentation, we'd like to update the board on the action items that were stated at the last HR presentation in October of 2021. And they were that we would revise the interview procedures, train staff, review and revise job descriptions for biased language, enhance the district culture, and provide professional growth opportunities. Immediately following last year's board presentation, HR initiated a review and revision of the district's interview practices. And in summary, these revisions now require diversity on screening and interview panels, direction on inclusive candidate qualifications, implicit bias assessments, equity-minded interview questions, and various other best practices. Each of the links on this slide provides specific information on these individual aspects of the new procedures, and they were all reviewed pretty much in detail at the last meeting last October. Training on the new revised interview procedures were held with each classified management team and all the school site leadership teams. And feedback from each of these teams provided for further revisions to the process and helped clarify expectations. And they'll continue this year with all of our new leadership teams. Over 90% of the district's job descriptions have been examined for biased or unnecessary phrasings, and then we redrafted them with inclusive and essential terminology. A couple of examples are on this slide for ADA accommodations, and we revised to remove the requirement of California driver's licenses to many or to most of our job descriptions, since this could exclude those unable to drive, but still able to ascertain transportation as needed. We removed terms like eyesight sufficient to read and write, as these skills can be accommodated with tech assistance. We revised phrases like manual dexterity to operate a keyboard to simply ability to operate a keyboard. We also removed traditionally masculine language such as forceful, advocacy, and provide a strong, et cetera, to make sure that we're not dissuading people from applying for our jobs. HR provided a survey to all of our new hires last spring and this fall, asking them to rate their application and interview process experiences. All the selections here received high marks, and we're very happy with the responses, especially with how the interviewees felt and how they felt welcome during the interview process, and that 95% say they would recommend applying to the district to others looking for work. One of the best recruitment and retention tools for an organization is having satisfied employees who then share their satisfaction with others looking for work. We pursue employee satisfaction in many ways. One way is doing everything we can to prevent issues such as sexual harassment, discrimination, and disrespectful behavior in our workplaces. Supporting employee internal advancement and professional growth are other methods. And towards this end, in conjunction with the Teachers Association, the district initiated a college course reimbursement last year for teacher interns. This added to the many ways in which the district supports teacher interns and new teachers in general. And we have a short video of one of our current teachers and former intern teachers, Malcolm Davis, a current Hillsdale and Aragon teacher.
As the district, I have enjoyed it. So second of the day, thank you for allowing me to come in here and be able to speak a little bit about my experience. I am currently still in classes at San Francisco State, so I am teacher interning. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about the experience that I've had and the ability that being able to teach or intern has allowed me to make a living instead of like student teaching and being able to like just scrape by. So the district allowing me to intern and make money and make a living has really changed the kind of like the trajectory of path of where I was on my teaching journey. So like the ability to actually pay rent and be able to live my own and make a good living for myself has helped a lot. Has really pushed me to continue to want to become a better teacher and to finish my classes. In terms of assistance from the district for interns, there is plenty of ICs, instructional coaches, as well as just willing teachers who are open to coming and helping me out. And that has helped me immensely, just having somebody who I can always go to and ask for help. This district does a great job at bringing new teachers in and supplying them with the help that they need. They don't really leave anybody out to dry, and they make sure that they, get the best out of the teachers and that.
Okay, so we cut it short for the presentation length purposes. Okay, so over the past 4 years, the district has hired 16 instructional assistants to become teachers. This is an average of 4 classified employees becoming teachers each year over the last 4 years, and 50% of these individuals are BIPOC individuals. The district has ranked internal advancement of staff as a top priority at all levels. And as an example of this, a current instructional assistant and teacher intern, Christy Halafia, has pre-recorded a few words regarding her pathway towards becoming a teacher.
Hi, my name is Christy Halafia, and I've been working for the San Mateo Unified High School District for 9 years, 8 years as an instructional aide and girls basketball coach. And this year, the district has supported me in taking on a new role as an intern teacher. So I'm currently teaching 2 sections of Algebra 1 at Aragon High School while also attending San Francisco State to earn my teaching credential. In the spring of 2022, the math department and the district really supported me in that goal of mine of becoming a teacher. So for that, I'm really grateful. The district, as well as my colleagues, are available for support when I do need help with anything. So I'm thankful that I have that support within my school site and the district, because I know that what I'm doing right now definitely needs a lot of support. So I know that it was pretty hard for me to even take the next steps to becoming a teacher on my own. So having all of that support and guidance from the district and my colleagues was pretty amazing. So this journey has been a long overdue one, but very thankful that I'm currently taking the right steps to becoming a teacher in this district. And I could not have done it with the district and without the district's help and also my colleagues. So thank you.
Okay, to assist and promote others like Christy, the district applied for and received a state grant called the Classified Employee Educator Grant. And our manager of teacher induction and professional learning, Sabby Hopkins, and Aragon teacher and now district classified outreach coordinator, Lindsay Bussey, have prepared brief descriptions of our approach towards the classified grants goals.
Hi, everyone. I'm Savvy Hopkins. I'm our manager of teacher reduction and professional learning. And last summer, we worked on a grant for the CTC to help support our classified employees in becoming teachers. So this CTC funded grant opportunity will last through June of 2026, and it's targeted at helping our current classified employees obtain teaching credentials, either through their degree completion program or teacher preparation program. Classified employees represent the most diverse part of our workforce, bringing with them experience with San Mateo Union High School District and working with students, as well as rich community connections and knowledge to better serve our students. We are approved to provide support for up to 60 potential candidates for each year of the grant program.
Hi, board members. My name is Lindsay Bussey, and I was hired in September as the Classified Outreach Coordinator. I've been with the district for 5 years and also work as an English teacher at Aragon. I was interested in this position because I've been very vocal about the need for diversity among the teaching staff as well as in administrative positions. While the district has been very intentional in their efforts to hire people to fill these positions, I was very interested in being a part of the process and this opportunity because I myself started in education. I was an instructional associate in RSP and an LIF classroom. I know that our classified staff has mastered what some of our certificated staff hasn't, which is the relationship building component with students. Relationship building is the cornerstone of being a successful teacher. As Sabby stated, our classified staff has the most diversity, so it makes perfect sense to create a program where we are able to utilize and empower our own staff to move into teaching positions. Since beginning the program, we have been able to have two events where we are doing recruitment and informational sessions. We are also recruiting via referral, informational flyers, interest surveys, and personal invitations. We've had 28 people in attendance over the 2 dates that we've hosted so far. We've been collaborating consistently with San Jose State and Marshall on application requirements, enrollment, and recruitment efforts. Upcoming, we will have an application support event on November 14th. And lastly, we will have future workshops based on participant needs.
Okay, so recruiting Spanish-speaking teachers can be a monumental task. However, the district has been fortunate over the years to fill most of our bilingual positions. Our Bridge program is typically recruiting teachers every year due to their growth. And to share her approach, Manager of English Learner and Academic Support Programs, Dr. Samia Showman, has pre-recorded a description of her recruitment efforts for our Bridge program.
Although it's not required, we prefer Spanish-speaking staff at our Bridge program because we serve recent arrivals from Central America. A few things we've done to recruit teachers at Bridge are developing unique job descriptions that include very specific information about the population we serve. And so when educators apply, we actually invite them to Bridge for a visit so they can experience our program and understand who we serve and our program philosophy. And then if they're still interested, we actually offer an interview. Our job posting does include a preference for bilingual applicants. Even if it's not Spanish, they often understand what it's like to serve multilingual students. We have candidates come model lessons, and then we can see their ability to use translanguaging in the classroom and get feedback on our candidates from our actual students. This past spring, we spent time developing our questions and included one on what brings candidates joy, which seemed to throw some off, but actually solicited a lot of comments of appreciation. While we look for bilingual candidates in our teachers, we actually look for bilingual candidates in all of our positions, which has really helped us support our students. We are very lucky to have the vast majority of our teachers and staff be bilingual and then be bilingual in Spanish. Thank you.
The district is committed towards increasing staff diversity, but once we attract diversity, we must value each person's unique background and lived experience, ensuring that they can bring their full selves to work. Enhancing our inclusive district culture includes outreach to staff. This spring, last spring's outreach provided an opportunity for staff to indicate their defined race and ethnicity with choices that also crossed over to culture and origin. This opportunity to indicate this information was important to many of our staff members, as the state's categories for race, ethnicity, and language are non-inclusive for many of our staff members. Two other outreach options to employees provided for gender and pronouns and selected name on district technology accounts. Other examples of how we all work to make an inclusive district culture include board-approved proclamations for LGBTQ+ community and a variety of history and cultural months and events. Recent examples include the board-approved holiday of Juneteenth and the district's diversity calendar that recognizes important cultural and historical events. These types of efforts will continue this year and be assessed through our DEI audit. District professional development has been designed to enhance teamwork and mutual respect through encompassing activities and job-related training. DEI professional development for classified staff is scheduled for the 2 PD days scheduled for January of 23. This training will continue the district's long history of DEI-related professional development. This slide has 3 pre-recorded testimonies from classified staff members regarding our professional development and can be accessed at any time. So that's the presentation. This year, there's a couple of links on this to have, one link is to a 50-slide HR data presentation, and one is to a memo. And really appreciate your attention and interest in the presentation and welcome any feedback.
Hold on.
Okay. Let me just thank you very much for that presentation. That was really, I thought, very high quality presentation. And we have made terrific progress, I think, in diversifying our staff and certainly in our procedures in interviewing, recruiting, retaining. I think the progress has been remarkable.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I can't really hear you all.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, better.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Let me ask, is there any public comment on this item? Okay, good. Well,
Can I make a comment?
sure.
Okay, thank you very much for the presentation, but more so, thank you for the work, because this has taken hours of focused work by Mr. Black, the department, all the people involved. And I think that it's work so well done. The part that I really love is the classified to certificated teacher pathway. It's just so many young people don't get the opportunity to go on, or something gets in their way. Although, you know, with CSM being free now, and I'm so excited about that, because we're an opportunity now, they will be too, you know, but not everybody has the support or the ability to just go straight, you know, to college or go straight into education. And when they come as an assistant, a teaching assistant, they're exposed to what a classroom really is, what high school really is. And the fact that a lot of them, and probably even more, will want to then move into being teachers will help us immensely. It helps them and it helps us, because recruiting is so difficult now with teachers, you know, just not enough teachers. And, you know, despite the fact that I believe we have a very excellent district with medical benefits and pay, and would encourage everyone to want to teach here, growing your own is just one of the most important things you can do. And the fact that these the people taking advantage of these programs, they're mostly young, have colleagues that they've developed through their work here. And others would come in and develop those, but they've developed that network to support them. And I think that that is going to just cement the opportunity for them. So I commend you and the district for this program specifically, because I believe it has such a rich future for the participants and for the district.
Well, I talked with soon-to-be Dr. Hopkins, and she says that we have 23 classified members looking into this grant to pursue either their BA degree or a teaching credential.
Thank you, almost Dr. Hopkins. This is great work. It's just such good work. So thank you.
Sure. Yeah, I think it, you know, and we've talked about it in the past, you know, it's very challenging to oftentimes to recruit a diverse staff in education because there's oftentimes not a lot of minority candidates that are attracted initially to go into education. They go into other fields. And the ones that do go into education, there's so much competition to try to attract them. And even though we have, you know, a very attractive benefit and compensation package, I think it, you know, it takes more than, oftentimes takes more than that. And I think what we're seeing here is you're building things that go on top of the benefits and compensation that are attractive. And I do like the fact that we're offering, you know, these programs where you can transition from being an instructional aide into a teaching role. You can transition from multiple roles. I think that's an excellent idea because you can offer that mobility that is oftentimes very hard to find in education. Right. I don't think a lot of districts have offered that kind of opportunity. So so I think we are on the right track. And yeah, I think there's more to do, but I think these are the kinds of things we need to do to be successful.
I have some questions, but if you're finished.
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. And yes, I really respect and appreciate all the work that all of you have done with this. It's really interesting information. And I also really like the links. A lot of great information. The first slide, you had a link that talked about why, I guess it had different things that you would learn through the webinar that you shared. One of the bullet points was teachers and staff of color leave the profession, or why teachers and staff of color leave the profession. And I wanted to know if that's been recorded at all, like in the exit interviews. I mean, it could be for any employee really, but for the employees of color, has there been like any specific reasons why? And then they also talked about, you know, there's this tax that people of color feel like they have to pay in whatever profession they're in. It's just things that kind of like weigh them down and that are not progressive. Have there been any like communication about that stuff? So that's my first question. So yeah, I'll just let you answer that and then I'll ask you one more question.
Yeah, we're very cognizant of that, and we try not to have a tax, as you say, on people of color who come into the teaching profession. We try not to, obviously, we try to avoid stigmatizing people, but also not making them as the go-to person for every issue that might be related to their background or their ethnicity and race. That could be very taxing because they're looked at as the one who has all the answers, and when it comes to diversity for their identity or that sort of thing. So we much of the a lot of the training that we've had through our different DEI trainings throughout the year with Dr. Kempe throughout the years has educated us on that, and to try to avoid that and to find, we still want to find the answers, and our employees can be part of that if they volunteer it, but to find other sources to guide us. And that's why we have things like DEI consultants and that sort of thing. In terms of exit interviews, we exit interview almost everyone. I would say probably 80%. Some people we miss, they don't want to do it. They've already moved or, those type of things. And we have, and for those people, we have surveys for that we send and we get their responses, some of their responses that way. But the other ones are in person or now over Zoom. And we do record that, we record them. We haven't had a loss. I mean, the link that you were, I'm not sure which link. There was a lot of links in last year's presentation, but that was from a professional development that there has been, people of color get into the profession and leave within 5 years, and that is a trend. We haven't seen that so much in our district, and the ones that haven't been because, at least they haven't expressed it. It's because we don't have an inclusive culture, that type of thing. They haven't at least expressed that to me during the exit interviews. There's been other reasons for people to relocate.
Thank you. Yeah, what Dr. Showman had said about what brings you joy, that's also really good to know, like what has kept people here in our district. I want to know, it's important to also celebrate, the great things about our district and how we can retain and recruit more people, with those examples. In that same article that I was talking about, they also talked about students and the impact on them when there is high turnover or lack of hiring of people that reflect them. I think it would be great to have our student board reps, and that'll be later the conversation. Maybe they can, find that information too and help out with that. That's really important to know how they feel. There's in another presentation later, I will correlate this with that. There's some information that that we are going to be given that, where the kids or the students, excuse me, don't feel like they can come to people for certain things. So maybe that can be a reason why. So I just, I wanted to leverage any information we can get in creative ways and, change them or maximize on them. There, things aren't always super bad. It's just, understanding how everything works together. Yeah, and I just think, like I said, all of the information you had was really, really good. I also was interested in knowing what the San Mateo Union High School District Teachers Association BLM Task Force thinks, what their take is on all of this. I don't know if they're still operating, but I'm curious. What do different people, feel throughout the district with the information that you have presented? All of that is really important, like I said, into knowing where we can go from here, and you make it even better. But I really like, I echo Superintendent Booker, that, we're all really excited about the progress that we're doing, but we can't stop, right? We have to keep going. So thank you. I appreciate everything you do.
Yeah, yes, and I would just like to respond with the student voice. We always try to incorporate student voice. I was thinking about incorporating that in the presentation tonight, but because just a few minutes of student voice can really shed a lot of enlightenment. So yeah, I think the student board members would be a good source for that. And the BLM Teacher Task Force, they've changed their name, but they are around, and they've given me a lot of guidance on these procedures. Oh yeah, yeah. A number of the teachers and parents too on the committee. I could run through their names, but they've gone through, I presented to them and they've gone through these procedures and asked me to do a lot of responses and long writings to them. And I've really valued their feedback, and a lot of the results here are because of things that they've suggested. And I think they're continuing to look at these procedures, and will continue to have that collaboration.
Great. I forgot one last thing. Is there a way of incorporating like culture or like other community, like disabilities and LGBT community, and maybe not an ethnicity, but or a race, but a culture? Would that be okay? Like, could we do some digging on that as well?
You mean in the statistics?
Yeah.
Yeah,
people
so
that would
we,
identify as disabled or identify as being part of the LGBT community.
yeah, so we have questions that applicants fill out that then aren't shared with paper screeners or interview committees, but they're just solely for the HR or for statistics for data. We did not ask about identity in that we debated on whether we should and what the effect of that could be. So we could go back and put that in. We didn't ask about disabilities. I don't know that we can legally before, we have the process. So I think we can't ask the applicants for that, but I think we could ask identity. We just didn't know how that would, how people would take that. So that's something we can look into.
Great. Yeah, and the teacher pathway thing is great. I think it's amazing. And maybe, and I'm not sure how this would work or what the logistics would be, but with the classified staff, just even maximizing on what they like about their jobs. What if they want to stay in their jobs and they see a career track there, having, more training in that area and, supporting them like that would be great.
Yes, the
But I
internal
think
advancement is not just to teaching. I mean, the goal here tonight was certificated staff, so that's why the focus was on getting people into teaching.
great.
But no, absolutely hiring from within and having a career pathway, like Mr. Hanley said, for all of our classified staff to stay in classified, to go to management, and not necessarily only to teaching. But tonight's presentation was focused on certificated staff. So yes, we definitely want those pathways, and I think we have them for classified staff.
Thank you.
Certainly.
Thanks. I think we can move on to our next item. We have, as I mentioned at the start of the meeting, pulled M2 because the conference is full. So let me move to M3, which is the District Student Board Council and Student Board Member Proposal.
Thank you. I'll take that one. So tonight, I get to control the slides. Look at that, I think. There we go. It's great. So tonight I'm here to report on some background. If you take a look at the board agenda, there's a memo that outlines a lot of this information. We put it together a slide here, and I kind of entitled it the District Student Board Council and Student Board Member Proposal. Last year, from my understanding, the Board of Trustees, they expressed an interest in greater diversity among our student board members, and not only in diversity, but in topics they bring up, that they don't come to the dais just to discuss when the next dance is or the next athletic event, but to really get involved in some of the topics that not only are on the agenda, but that are important to them at their school sites or across the district. And so the board expressed this interest. We took that to action. We convened a subcommittee with board trustees, district staff, to consider changes. We also involved our attorney as well, because any of these changes then have to flow into a change of board policy. And tonight, as attached, as it won't be totally encumbered by this presentation, there is red line changes as a proposal to our board policy on student board representatives, as well as job descriptions and things like that. So the proposal is really broken down into three parts. It's the development of a district student board council. When the board wanted greater diversity, greater numbers of students participating, rather than having just one or two students participate at the dais year round, what we thought is what we could do is develop a student board council, and that we would have students rotate from that council to sit at the dais to participate. All students on the council would meet monthly, would get a review of the board agenda, would learn about board governance. What does it mean to be a board member? What does it mean for board to take action? All of those kinds of things. But then selected by themselves, they would promote two members to sit at the dais at each meeting, and that would even rotate quarterly. And then lastly, the job development or a stipend development for a district student board council coordinator to lead and facilitate that group as they meet as a whole, Ms. Aquino, myself, other members of the district might be pushing in to those meetings to help them better understand the board agendas, what's coming up, what's being discussed, what are the laws behind them. Again, this is way beyond student board reps coming and talking about a dance. This is them giving input on the presentation we just had. I mean, how powerful would it have been to have two students sitting here to give input to Dr. Black, myself, the board, the community on what they're experiencing, and not just a video, but right here, and to be able to dialogue back and forth with board members or with district staff. And then even more powerfully, to have that council sit and discuss that presentation, to have Dr. Black come to that council prior to the board meeting, give a kind of a dry run a little bit, if we could call it, and get their feedback on what are they experiencing, how is it making them think, what feedback to the presentation might they have for Dr. Black, the student experience, all of that. And so we're really excited about it. The proposal really looks at creating a council of 17 students, 2 students from each comprehensive high school, a student from Peninsula, a student from Bridge, and a student from Middle College, and then as well 2 at-large representatives. So 17 students, freshman to senior. There's an application process. It's not a vote. It's an application process that they'd have to fill out, and you'll see that is also linked to the board agenda. You can take a look at that process. Like I said, the council will appoint 2 reps. They'll attend regular school board meetings, and they not only represent the council, the 17 members, but their entire student body. And so it's going to be really interesting to have students from Bridge and Mills and Aragon, I mean, all in the same room talking about and being led in how to talk about the various issues that the board tackles. And then we're really hopeful that we'll be able to find a staff member to serve as our council coordinator to help all of us facilitate these meetings. And so attached to the board agenda, you'll see a job description for the student board council coordinator. You'll see the district student board council position description for students. You'll see redlined version of the board bylaw 9150. Again, if we're going to change our process, it has to be reflected in our bylaws. And then lastly, an ambitious timeline. We're providing it as an initial proposal for board consideration tonight. You know, as the board tackles it, thinks about it, wants to provide us with requested edits, we'll take those through the month of October and November. We'll come back November 17th with maybe an edited or an amended proposal based on your feedback and ask you to approve at that meeting. You don't necessarily have to. You could take it into December if you'd like. But like I said, this is kind of an ambitious timeline so that we can use November, December, January to really kick off and launch our communication and campaign to students and our educators to drum up interest, to get those applications filled out. And then we're really hopeful that we can have our first student board council meeting come February of 23. Like I said, very ambitious, but we'd like to get some of these students on the dais before we hit fourth quarter for sure. And then, you know, we'll evaluate it at the end of the year. We'll get board input. How did it go? Student input. How did it go? And if we want to make changes in the spring for the fall, we can do that. This is kind of a pilot run to see, you know, is it achieving the goal? Back to the purpose. Is it achieving the goal of garnering greater representation, greater diversity, more numbers and student interest? So that's the plan. I can, you know, Trustee Andrade and Trustee Land were part of our subcommittee, and really a lot of great feedback. Dr. Kemke, Ms. Aquino, myself, Ms. Chalkley. So happy to answer any questions, take any feedback as we progress.
Can I say something really quick before we take questions?
Sure.
I also wanted to echo that. I thank you to Ms. Kemke, to Ms. Chalkley, to Ms. Aquino, to Trustee Land. This was really important because we do need to have representation from all of the different parts of our district. And I just wanted to just mention this quote. It reminds me of what we're doing. It says, "You cannot change any society unless you take responsibility for it, unless you see yourself as belonging to it and responsible for changing it." And that's by Grace Lee Boggs. She's a Chinese American activist. And I really believe that our students will feel more empowered to make change and to support our district when they see themselves as change makers. Some students feel more comfortable going to different people that they feel comfortable with and identify with. So yeah, I'm really excited about this, and thank you.
Is there any public comment on this item?
No, President Hammond, there is not.
Okay. Trustee Dwyer,
Okay, I think this is an excellent idea, and I think that we've really struggled with student board members for many years, actually. Isn't a new thing, but COVID kind of put the coup de grace on it. But it seems like I agree with Superintendent Booker that it was just sort of a reporting of what was going on. And unfortunately, the student who would report mostly on their own school. So it'd be like what was going on at their school. So you really didn't get, since you didn't hear from every school, you didn't really get a gist of, what was going on everywhere, but also it was very limited, to specific activities that they were aware of. But so I think it's a very good idea. I think that it's going to be a big role for a student to take on. And so I like the way it's written. They also, and I didn't see this, but it maybe, and I just missed it. They're going to need to report back somehow. They're going to need to have the ability to maybe go on their local, when they do the news in this, in the schools, be able to take time there and say, here's what's going on at the school board level. And as your representative, they need to make themselves known among the school community, the entire school community, and then report back. And and if that's in there, I missed it, but I think that's a very important part of this, because otherwise we would be doing it better, but we'd be doing it the same, where it's just a couple people that have the advantage. And I think that we want to make sure that it's always open to add people, because you have 17, but you could make the meetings open to have other students who have a high interest to sit in.
Yeah.
So that they can learn from it, because then when someone has to go off for whatever reason, and there will be kids who will go off, you'll have some people who've been attending the meetings, who've been learning about it, even though they're not participants in the meetings, which would really help transition. We wouldn't lose as many people. It seemed like we would keep losing our student board members. So I really support this. And particularly, I want to make sure that we include that the information that they gain and what they learn is spread throughout the student community. So thank you very much.
So, I very much supported making some changes in this, and I thought, we wanted to encourage the students to get involved in some of the issues that the board was dealing with, and although the events on schools are important, they're important to the students, and it's good. It's nice to hear about them, but I think it's beneficial for students to develop a sense of what governance is about and how it affects them, and get a deeper understanding of how issues are dealt with in a democracy. So I was am very supportive of making some kinds of changes. This went in a little bit different direction than I initially thought it was going to go, in terms of forming a council and the rotation of membership. And I think you're going to have to monitor it and see how it goes. I'm somewhat skeptical, frankly, as to how well that's going to work. I think a monthly meeting isn't really sufficient to get people up to speed and keep them interested and involved. And I think in many ways, 17 is almost going to be too many, because you're talking about two that are going to be involved for a relatively short span. When you think the board meets twice, the board meets twice a month, most months, but then we're coming up to 2 consecutive months where the board's going to meet once a month because of the holiday season and school vacations. So, I think you're going to have to monitor it and see how it goes, because I think it's going to be hard to keep the focus and to develop the kind of depth and understanding and connection on an ongoing basis with this kind of model. I just really do. And when I was thinking about how were we going to reform this, it was more around, how do we get, some students that are really interested in governance that are going to stay connected for at least a semester at a time, because they're going to be able to, at that point, really be interested in how the board operates and the issues that often go on for a semester or more. So, I'm willing to see how this works. I won't be here to actually see how it works, but sure, in a second.
Okay. 1 second, I'm ready.
So that's my concern, and I think it's going to, I'm sure we have a number of people who are capable of being very good coordinators. I mean, we have a number of people who are excellent, AP government teachers, AP economics teachers, AP history teachers, that could, serve as coordinators. But I think it's going to be really important to get the right person as a coordinator involved in this. Again, I think a monthly meeting is not going to be enough. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm looking at it a little differently because I see this as the group getting together to review. They're going to have a couple meetings just to train them, but the group getting together to review the agenda, to review all the materials, and the 2 of them will actively participate, sit in the seats. The rest of them should be on Zoom watching, because even though you're not there, you can still participate, and they can communicate with each other about things that are going on. If they communicate during the meeting, that's their, they can do that. But I think that if you're not the 2 that are going to appear, you're in the wings to be the next. So you should be actively on Zoom, and then the district would track who's really participating, who's really watching. And the ones who are really watching then should be highly considered for the next 2 to sit in the seats, because I think you can set it up so that they're all, as many of them as possible are there. Even if they're on Zoom, that's good enough, with the 2 live. So I don't know, I see it as an opportunity to really grow the group. Particularly the more kids you bring in, the more opportunity you have to grow the group and to grow the whole program. So.
Well, as I said, I think you're going to have to watch and see if that's the way it actually develops.
Well, you have to work it to be that way. They have to be encouraged. We'll feed them.
There you go.
We feed us.
So any more discussion? I mean, that's my comments. Okay. And construction. Approval of schematic design budget schedule for district-wide fire alarm replacement project.
All right. Thank you, President Hanley. So I'm really excited to bring forth the project, the district-wide fire alarm project. This project was approved by the board in the initial planning and approvals in December of 2020. It was actually my first meeting. HY Architects are our architects of record on this project. They're also doing the Hillsdale Transite project, which if you haven't seen over there is looking pretty exciting right now. It includes all 6 comprehensive high schools and will bring continuity to all of our fire alarm and upgrade them to the most current technology. The project is scheduled for the summer of 2024, and that's to ensure that we can acquire all of the product. We've been seeing pretty large backlogs in a lot of our products that require circuit boards and chips. The total budget for this project is $14.2 million, which is within 3% of the original budget. And tonight, I'm excited to ask for approval of the schematic design for the 6 sites, the budget $14.2 million, and the schedule, which is included in the board packet, but will be primarily in the summer of 2024. With that, I'm really excited to answer any questions.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I asked that you present this because it's a very important project. It's a very costly project, and I wanted to make sure that our constituents understood, why we're doing this, what it means. And we need to have the state-of-the-art fire alarms. And so the sooner we can get that done, the better. It would be great if we could push it to 23, but I guess you'll be monitoring that.
Yeah, we'll be monitoring it, but we also want to ensure that the project can be completed within the summer and not impact the learning
Right.
in August. Given the delays that we've seen over the last 12 to 18 months in supply chain, we just want to ensure that we can get these installed and get school started right away and not have the construction team still there, slowing things down.
Yeah, and I think when you look at the schematics, it's much bigger than people think. They see a fire alarm, they go, oh, they're going to put one of those up. No, that's, sure. And it's very expensive, but there's so much work involved. And I think that, hiring the right people and doing it right will give us what we need. So thank you very much.
Absolutely.
We do need a motion.
I move approval.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion from trustee Dwyer, a second from trustee Zuniga. Trustee Zuniga, how do you vote?
Yes.
Trustee Dwyer?
Yes.
And I vote yes also. So that that item's approved 3-0. So Division of Human Resources, approval of personnel actions.
I move approval of the personnel actions.
With addendum.
An addendum, and we have one recognition, if I may.
Yes.
No?
Go
Okay. Yeah, Amelia Rivera, a nutrition services lead at Aragon High School, submitted her retirement effective December 30th, and she's been with the district for 18 years and 4 months.
Okay. Okay. Trustee Zuniga, how do you vote?
Yes.
Trustee Dwyer?
Yes.
And I vote yes also.
I don't think there was a second.
Oh, I thought.
Yes, Ligia seconded.
I thought Leah seconded.
She did.
Okay.
Starting to scare me. I jumped on that last one. Okay.
Okay.
I move approval of the administrative management independent employment contract for Jenny Gibson as the BHS assistant principal and the approval of the employment contract for Jennifer Villefort as the behavior program manager. Thank you.
Okay.
Second.
There's a second. Okay.
It's hard to hear. I don't know if if people are speaking into their microphone. I'm sure you are, but I don't know. The audio changed after the video that was shown.
So are you're still having trouble hearing us, Ligia?
I have to, no, I can hear you, but I just have to really, sometimes it gets really faint. So if I don't answer, it's because it was really faint.
Okay,
They're working on it right now.
they're trying to adjust it right now.
Yeah, it sounds better.
Okay. Okay. Before we vote on this, I need to, by law, read out the compensation benefits for these two contracts. The following are the compensation terms for Jenny Gibson as Burlingame Assistant Principal for the remainder of the school year. The salary is $111,235. The workdays are 135.5. The prorated annual health and welfare benefits of up to $25,343. Transportation and cell phone reimbursements of $275 a month, and various subscriptions and memberships and reimbursements for approved district expenses. At the June 23rd board meeting, over 40 individual employment contracts were read out and approved by the board for the 22-23 school year. One manager contract was omitted from the list, and that was the contract of Jennifer Vilfort, Behavior Program Manager. So this is the following compensation terms for Jennifer Vilfort as a behavior program manager. The salary is $131,878. Work days are 204. The prorated annual health and welfare benefits of up to $25,343. Transportation and cell phone reimbursements of $275 a month, and various subscriptions and memberships and reimbursements for approved district expenses. So we have a motion from Trustee Dwyer, a second from Trustee Zuniga. Trustee Zuniga, how do you vote?
Yes.
Trustee Dwyer?
Yes.
And I vote yes. So those contracts are approved 3-0.
I move approval of the memorandum of understanding regarding Hillsdale Pilot Advisory Program.
A second.
Okay.
It's just three.
A motion by Trustee Dwyer, second by Trustee Zuniga. How do you vote, Trustee Zuniga?
Yes.
Trustee Dwyer?
Yes, and I think this is a really good idea. And I'm really glad to see this being done at the school.
And I vote yes also. So that's approved 3-0. Okay, Division of Instructional Services and High School Graduation Requirements, Board Policy 6146.1, reducing adult school diploma required credits from 180 to 150, and other required board language updates to board policy. Who wants to go?
Okay.
Dr. Kemp?
All right, I'll go ahead. Good evening. So this is an update to our board policy 6146.1, and it's to reduce, based on the recommendations of the consortia in the area of San Mateo, to reduce the graduation requirements at our adult school from 180 to 150. I want to provide some important background on this and to understand a little bit more about the diploma program at the adult school. First, most of our adult school students are parents who are working full-time to return to school, provide a better future for their family. They're often former SMUHSD students. I don't know if you realize this, but in talking to their staff, they're often students that have left us because they had a life-changing experience that restricted their ability to graduate, during the normal timeline. This proposal will allow them to graduate with 150 rather than the 180 credits, and will give them the gift of time and money. The only courses they would be required to take, not be required to take under this are elective credits. So it's reducing the elective credits from 55 to 25 for students. And also something really good to note about the adult schools, they have a really limited elective program. So most of the elective classes that the students there are taking are either through Edgenuity, which is a pretty limited online platform. They offer basically 2 in-class or in-person classes, a poetry class, and then a career choices class, which supports the students in kind of discovering different careers. They can also get elective credits because of military service and then work experience. So in speaking with the staff member there that works with a lot of the students in the diploma program, she had mentioned that a lot of students will get through the required English, math, social studies, science requirements, and then kind of linger to get done with the electives when, for a lot of them, it's almost a hardship to do this. So for their staff, and it's one of the reasons the consortia and many of the adult schools came to this recommendation to decrease from the 180 to 150. So I think all of the ones in the area are bringing similar recommendations to their board to decrease the electives in this way. See if there's anything else I was going to. The other thing is that a lot of them, the students are coming back. Once they complete that 150, they're still eligible to go on to the community college, which many of them do. So they also can start taking dual enrollment classes, and that's sometimes how they get their elective credits. But what this allows them to do often is because they're working, they can get a higher pay raise. Usually the diploma, you're able to make a little bit more money. So that's the first part of the board policy that we're changing. The other part that I just want to mention that we're changing is we've updated the language for our English learners, particularly students coming to us. And they're qualifying under AB 2121 as newcomer students. We eliminated language around a 5th year because a lot of these students actually are coming to us in their junior year, and they may only spend 3 or 4 years with us. We're just trying to give them additional time to get their diploma. So they're either with the bridge program, some of them go on to the peninsula, but most of them are the bridge students. So we updated the language to kind of match our practices and align with the new Assembly Bill 2121. So that's, what encompasses all the changes to this board policy. And
what is the new
go ahead.
Assembly Bill 2121?
It allows for migrant students and students that are new to the country to meet graduation requirements at the minimum California level. So similar to students that qualify under foster and homeless needs are migrant students and newcomer students also. So it was kind of one of those assembly bills that was passed after the pandemic. Right in the midst of it too. Questions? And I will say, Director Angela Taylor was integral in writing this. She just couldn't be with us tonight to speak to it directly.
If there isn't other discussion, I'll move to approve. But I wanted to say what Dr. Kemke had said about allowing for more time to be able to, they'll be able to do dual enrollment, but it also gives them the opportunity to go straight to community college. And there they also have ESL classes and things like that. So I just think it's super beneficial.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Ligia. I think this is something long time coming and something we need to do. This, now that community college is free in San Mateo County, which everyone knows I'm really excited about, they can go straight to college. They can go on if they can. And I think that will help facilitate more students going on, because you've got all these these hurdles to get through. You've done all your basic coursework, but then you've got to do all these other classes. Unless you can get credit at community college for both, for both degrees, it just doesn't, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So I think this is a great idea and I support it and I seconded from Ligia's motion.
So tell me again what the elective courses are that they take right now?
So in-person classes, they really have three choices at the adult school campus. So there is a poetry class, there is a career choices class, and then they can a work experience. And then oftentimes students will come in, a lot of their elective credits are some that they're bringing in with them. So they'll have, some of them are from foreign transcripts, and then there'll be classes that the students already taken. Because oftentimes they're coming back. They've already taken a lot of their elective credits through their high school experience, and now they're just coming back to finish off courses. So honestly, the adult school doesn't offer many elective classes, for this reason, because they're often not the classes the students need in order to graduate. The other elective classes would be ones that are allowed, that they can take through Edgenuity. So they're really just taking online elective courses. So I think a lot of them will get it through work experience. They can get up to 10 credits through work experience, and then previous credits that they're bringing in with them. So they'll analyze whatever transcripts they have and then bring it up to that level. But the classes actually offered at the adult school are pretty limited for, this.
Okay.
And I'll also say that a lot of the students, like Ms. Kemke said, are a lot older already. And, it holds them back not being able to just finish. And if there are classes that really aren't going to be doing anything special for their careers or their future educational goals, then, why not?
I agree. Their time would be better spent going up to CSM and taking another computer science class, or taking the things of their interest, the real estate coursework, the fire service coursework, all of those things that they can get into once they have this diploma from us.
Yeah, and there's so much more support as they're adults there in the community colleges.
So does this affect high school students that we send to the adult school?
The ones that go onto the diploma track, yes. The ones that choose that.
I don't know. I just have reservations about this.
If I may, President Hanley. So while I know there's a motion and a second, and we're in the midst of discussion, like with most board policies, what we can do is we can bring this back on November 17th. Maybe it's a better discussion to have with the whole board. I know we have two board members absent right now. It's change for sure. And it might require just a second reading, more discussion you may have, or other board members that aren't here tonight may have more questions for us. And we're happy to answer those. So I just offer that.
We could do that. We could table it and then come back. I mean, I agree with Mr. Booker. Greg is going to have an opinion, and so is Bob. So, and I think it would be good to hear their review of this proposed change. So I would support that.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, I just would like to think about it some more. I have reservations about anything that lowers the standards for a diploma. I just do. And
Okay,
I just have reservations about doing that.
so then let's do that.
Okay, we'll bring it back.
Okay. That's almost it.
And I think given that there's two board members that are missing, I think we should bring back the I think we should keep the board policies just for another reading.
Do you mean the both of those items on the agenda?
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
fine.
are they critical? Is there anything that's critical that needs to be approved right next meeting?
I believe Mr. Scatena is on.
I will bring him in.
For the internet transfer process.
There is a timeline to that one
Is there
because there's a window when we'd be accepting.
that he needs to?
Here he comes.
That would be two, that's two.
Mhm.
Go ahead, Mr. Scavena.
Who's on mute?
He may not have heard us.
Yeah, I mean, the issue is, can this wait till next month, or do we need to do it now? Make a decision now?
So, Mr. Scatena, we're talking about the item on the board policy on interdistrict transfers, and President Hanley is wondering if this can wait till the next board meeting when we have all 5 board members here, or is this time sensitive?
Obviously we're trying to align our enrollment window for new families with the policy. The lottery decision is not, the lottery doesn't happen until February. So we do have a little bit of time. It's just a matter of our information that we provide the families. What we can do is let them know that this is a pending decision based on this window. Regardless, we'll want to let our families know that they do need to apply now. They cannot wait until potentially April, May, June to apply for interdistrict transfers. Those are the only concerns. I think we can wait until we have a larger group.
Sorry, this was on not for a vote tonight, right?
Right.
This
There's a
was-
reading tonight. I was going to take questions.
It's just a first reading.
Why don't we bring it back for a vote next meeting, but not put it on consent? But bring it back for a vote and assume that Greg and Bob read it over, and we can bring it back for a vote next meeting.
And the one prior as well, the specific board
Yes.
policy updates.
Yes.
Yeah,
Let's just do it.
Okay.
That makes sense.
but I want them to have a chance to comment on it.
Mhm.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Mhm.
Amen.
Okay. So I think we've completed the agenda.
Thanks, Don.
Good night.
Thank you, Dawn.
Good night, Ligia. Good night, Don. Good night, interpreter. Good night, room.
Good night.
Good night, water
I'm going to adjourn-
bottle.
I'm going to adjourn the meeting now. Thank you all.